podcast and the channel. My name is Shannon Kaiser, and I'm so honored to be here with you today because the topic that we're going to dive in is really important, especially if you feel like you have a really big heart, you care, you really want to make a difference in the world. Perhaps you find yourself in situations where you're overgiving, and it's just because you really genuinely want to make a difference in people's lives. So if that sounds like you, you're in the right place because today we are talking about something that happens to so many of us when we get involved with other people who may not have the same intentions as us. So before we dive in to today's topic, just think about for a moment any connections that you have and which ones feel very uplifting, which ones feel a little bit more heavy, and then which ones feel straight up toxic or dramatic or just like this is not working anymore. If you kind of identify with any area of that, then this will really help today. Before we dive in, I just want to share, make sure you like and subscribe. And if you're really loving this, leave a comment. Would love to hear from you down in the comments and connect deeper. So I've been writing books on the psychology of happiness and getting unstuck for over a decade now. And in all of the work that I've done, the deeper I go with each book that I write, but in that experience, the more I start to see patterns. I start to see patterns both in my life coaching practice and then out in the collective, and then where we are entering into as society, as a culture. And it's important to kind of recognize that there are themes that kind of come up. And in this experience, we can tap in deeper to really look at how we're showing up in our life and how we want to be better. That's really what this whole entire channel is dedicated to, helping you feel better than before, really showing up for yourself. It's all about healing from a place of self-compassion and self-love. I really tie psychology, mental health, and spirituality into this. And so when we bring all those in, that's kind of the lens in which we're looking at today's topic. So I want you to just think about the toxic person, perhaps, that you might be thinking is in your life. Or if you're in a new connection, the real kind of reason we're here today is tests that you can do to see if the person in your life is toxic or to kind of see if you can really trust that person. Now, when I talk about tests, this is not at all a manipulation. I'm not talking about how to manipulate people around you, how to like throw spells or anything. This is not at all what I'm talking about. This is about you really protecting your heart, but showing up from a place of love for self, not fear, because we can always make a choice from fear or we can make a choice from love. And I think this is a good question just to start off with. Am I making this choice, any choice in your life? Am I making this choice from a place of fear, or is it from self-love? Is it from a place of wanting to feel more connected to myself and others? Is it from a place of wanting to truly understand? And I think that's the difference. Some people will run tests and manipulate others on purpose. And this is not what we are talking about today. So let's say you have just gotten into a new connection, or you have someone in your life and you're wondering if they are toxic. And what I mean by toxic is really, this is someone who does not have your best interest at heart. And a toxic person could be someone who's very manipulative and controlling, has their own agenda. Perhaps they're very much into drama and they're always stirring it up. They may be big gossipers. There's all kinds of layers of toxicity. There could be even go all the way to the extremes of personality disorders, such as, narcissism and sociopaths. There's all layers. We are talking about any form of toxicity because what you want to do is really protect yourself from having people come in on your energy and trying to bring you down or sabotage you and your good heart, your kind nature, and your genuine appreciation for other people and wanting to get to know them. If you're coming at it from a place of love, then you're in the right place, because this is a very safe place for you to just kind of see, wow, maybe I could just see if this person is really in it for the same reasons I am. So the very first test that you can do is in a connection with someone is to say no. Yeah. Just say no. I say this first, and maybe you're watching, you're like, what? Say no? Because I know that many of us, at least many in my coaching practice and the people I work with, in many, many, many years, I was a yes person. I would say yes at the sacrifice of self. I would always show up for others. I would really be in a place where I wanted to say yes because it was a people pleasing tendency and it was something I really wanted to do for others. But I started to say yes so much that you build up resentment and you start to feel like you're giving more than you're getting. So let's reverse this, but also saying no is really about owning your worth and setting boundaries. So it could be as simple as saying, no, I don't want to go to this place that you want to go to, all the way to a much larger no of this doesn't feel right. And we speak up for ourselves about the boundary that may be trying to be infringed on us. Now, the reason this works, if you are involved with a toxic person, and Richard Brennan talks about this when, for example, if you're with a narcissistic person and you say no, you will quickly see a change in their demeanor and you will see almost a complete shift. And that's almost where the mask falls, where they're very kind and loving as a front. And you say, no, I don't want to do that. And that's really all of a sudden, they feel like they have lost control. And whether it's a body shift or a change in the way they communicate or their eyes, you will notice a slight or major shift. Sometimes people will full on go ballistic. And this is when you will know that you are dealing with someone who maybe can't regulate their own emotions, who is maybe in this connection for a very different reason than you are. And that's why saying no is important because you're actually saying yes to you and you're giving yourself clues into understanding, are the people around me really, do they care? And in a real balanced adult relationship, and this is, a romantic relationship or a partnership or with a friend, it's any type of connection. If you don't feel that you can say no, because you're worried about how they're going to react or what the repercussions might be, this is definitely an indicator that you might be dealing with someone who has more of a toxic personality. So saying no is about setting your boundaries. Maybe try it out this week. What can you say no to? And say yes to yourself. And this is one strategy. Another strategy to see if the people in your life are toxic is actually what's called the red herring test. You may have heard this before, but it's really a test. And again, these tests are not from a place of manipulation in the sense of trying to get someone else to do something or control. It's really about you having boundaries, building trust, and owning your worth, knowing that your energy is important, your time is valuable, and you don't want to be taken advantage of. That's where this place is coming from. Again, self-love. So the red herring test is where you simply share something about yourself that might be something you don't really want a lot of people to know. It could be an insecurity or a fear. And I would suggest with the red herring test, you share this with the person, and when and if they come back and use it against you, whether it's in an argument with them or they somehow slip it in and kind of do a little dig later on when you're in with other people, when they use something you've shared with them in your vulnerability and your state of openness and your open heart to them, and you're just genuinely trying to connect, if they use that against you, use it as an ammunition to try to sabotage or bring you down, this is definitely a sign you are dealing with someone who is keeping track, perhaps, of the things that you say about yourself so they can then, again, use them against you for their own personal gain. This is not something you really want to involve yourself with, because the truth is you really want to protect yourself and surround yourself with people who will really understand you and keep your secrets, if you will, or keep your things about yourself that you really share in confidence between you guys, and really celebrate that friendship and that relationship out of a respect for each other. Not, thanks for telling me this information, now I'm going to use it against you. So the third and final strategy or test that you could use to see if the person in your life that you are dealing with is indeed toxic is actually what is called the narcissistic test. A lot of psychologists actually talk about this, and there's been a lot of studies. There was a large study done over in Europe where they actually tested people, in a large group of people, and they asked one simple question. That simple question is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how narcissistic do you think you are? Now, when it comes to narcissistic, I think this word gets thrown around a lot. There was quite a kind of a vernacular in our common culture where, oh, they're narcissistic. Oh, this person's narcissistic. We've been hurt by someone. They're narcissistic. But there is a very real disorder, and people really do and can have it. But I think we need to be careful just throwing it around to people. But if you have ever been in a situation where you've suffered narcissistic abuse, then you know very much how it gets into the psychology of you, and it takes years, months, decades to heal. And it's a very manipulative, kind of calculated form of abuse. And so if you have been involved with this, please seek help through therapy, through life coaching, through videos like this. And so this test is something you can really tap into, because I wish I had this test before I got involved with a specific different group of people who constantly were just taking advantage of me and really kind of got in deep into the narcissistic level of abuse. So from this place, all you have to ask, are you narcissistic on a scale of 1 to 10? What do you think? Just on a casual conversation. Here's what the study found. It found that, people who are narcissistic, or they're actually kind of proud of it and they don't see anything wrong with it. Narcissism is really a grandiose of yourself, a disregard for other people. There's a lot of other layers though. Someone maybe putting themselves first at a time in their life and showing up for themselves in the first, really taking care of themselves. This is not narcissistic. Again, this is love. So there's self-love and then there's fear. Narcissism is really this layer of I will win at all costs and I don't care who I hurt. It's only about what's in it for me. And I'm going to do everything I can to really manipulate the situation to get what I need. And I don't care if I lie, cheat, steal. It kind of goes into that layer. So they will often say and be proud of it. They'll rate themselves higher on the spectrum of 1 to 10. And I've done this a couple times with some friends, and turns out it's very true when I look at the patterns of our connection. It's been all about them for decades. And, they were very happy to say, oh, 9 or 10, very easy. And then they quickly said, oh, just joking. But chances are, if you hear that question on a scale of 1 to 10, how narcissistic are you? You may be thinking in your mind, oh, geez, well, 1, 2, I'm not. And that's a sign that you really know you're not narcissistic. These are the 3 tests that you can do to make sure that you are surrounding yourself with people of integrity, of high value, of people who really have your best interest at heart. I hope this message today has been valuable for you. Again, it all comes back down to knowing yourself, because when you know yourself, you can be yourself and you can really stand up for yourself. I'm here to help you understand that you are worth it, and giving yourself to others at the sacrifice or letting people walk all over you is not a way that we want to live our life. I lived that way for almost 3 whole decades until the abuse got so bad and so intense that I finally had to wake up. And it was the most beautiful thing, because I woke up and I said, enough, no more. I'm done. And I will not let these lies and manipulation take me down. I deserve better. And so do you. So you deserve so much better. And as we close out today's message, I'm going to pull a oracle card deck for this, my deck, Unshakable, Inner Peace, and an oracle card. I'm going to pull one because we're all about inner peace here. And this is a deck that you can get anywhere. Obviously, this is not a shameless plug. This is simply me adding another tool for us. So I'm going to shuffle these cards for today's message. This deck, of course, is available anywhere bookstores are sold, on Amazon. Unshakable, Inner Peace. Today's message as we close out. Whoa, we got it. A jumper here is, there we go. Your true tribe cannot show up until you do. So we have the message at the bottom. Your true tribe cannot show up until you do. What we see here is 2 people very centered in their own sovereign energy, balanced out, and they're holding hands. And as they lean back, this shows that they're trusting each other and balancing in the connection. And if you look at the other indicators on this card, the visual, the way oracle cards work is you look at the images and you start to see what you're inspired by. So we have the full moon up here, which is also a great time for setting new rituals and really connecting to your true self. There's a question at the bottom. So how your true tribe can't show up until you do. This is all about stepping into your authenticity, knowing that who you're surrounding yourself with is really important. The question I'll leave you with today: how can you show more of the real you? How can you show more of the real you? Thank you for joining today and playing with the world. See you guys next time. Take care.